Really? With
Hey.
URA?
Now we're live.
Cool.
We're live.
Awesome.
All right.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to the URA final 2021 rankings. We've got the top 100 coming your way. We got women's top 15. We've got some announcements we want to go through with you guys. But first, I'm Chandler Hertzler. I'm the URA panel chair. We have a new panel for the URA that we're really excited for. We've kind of expanded, hoping to get through some different divisions and have some people with different specialties and skills that they're focusing on. So joined here with Justin Anderson and then Riley Duke as well. So we've got 6 other panel members as well. So all this was kind of discussed by all of us, but us three wanted to kind of be the ones to present it to you all. So we're very excited. So we're going to start off with a quick announcement. We've got a new tradition that we're starting, an end-of-year banquet for the Utah Round Association. Justin's done a ton of work. Would you want to kind of give your spiel with this?
Yeah, for sure. So we're starting it this year. There are a lot of people within the community that deserve recognition for both like their skills on not the court, the realm, right? Yeah. On the realm. As well as off the realm within the community. Just a lot of great individuals that deserve recognition, so we want to do that. It'll take the form of a banquet on December 9th. It will be held in Riverton. All of the details are at utahroundnet.com/banquet. And RSVP there by December 3rd. There's going to be food, prizes, awards. There should be a raffle as well. Drinks, and just celebrating the community as a whole. So go RSVP if you haven't already.
Yep. It'll be really fun. All right. And then just really quickly, we know it's the off season, but we do have just a couple upcoming tournaments we want to let you know about. We are going down to Phoenix for the Phoenix Sun Bowl. Super fun time last year. We had a great turnout between Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, California. So should be a really fun time. That'll be December 11th. So again, details are on Fuego or utahroundnet.com.
70 degrees.
Yeah.
It's always nice.
Holy
get out of the cold and get into some warm weather.
Utah. The balls were so flat here when I was trying to play the other day. So, and then also as a note, the first USA RoundNet tournament is going to be January 15th and 16th in Las Vegas. This last year was honestly one of my favorite tournaments of the year. We had a ton of different like pro players and over was it like 100-ish teams or something?
75.
75 in Vegas. So that's happening again. It's going to be officially the first USA RoundNet tournament, but Sanford of Utah Round Association will be the one hosting it. So we're very excited for that. All right.
All right, we're joined by one more panel member.
Yes.
Welcome, Kian.
You're good. No, you're good. This is Kian, another one of our panel members. So, again, it's us 4, and then we've got 5 others as well. So, Riley, do you kind of want to go through kind of what we go through when determining rankings, looking at stats and everything?
Yeah. So, this year, especially with me and Jake, who's not here currently, but what we've been able to do with the stats we've been given on Fuego is really use the point differences, wins loss, as well as Derek Bonney with stacking individual games to really help and determine beyond just where you're placing your overall rating in that tournament. So we anticipate right now, we heavily used it for elite, so top 1 through about 30, 35 is heavily using this. Starting from here on, we'll also start using it for advanced. So as we kind of get through there, so our overall tournament result is what that's really using. Mostly looking at majors, we will group the different divisions with the different tournament styles. So additionally, we'll be looking at head-to-head matches. So deep dive within Fuego and those results if we ever do get a conflict there. Knowing that, to really help improve your ranking, Fuego is going to be super important. So you're going to want to make sure that you have your correct name in there, which is super helpful to us. That way we know who you are and we don't have to correct it. Points is going to be very, very important, as that is the major weight that is going on here. So we are going to unify forfeits to be 5-0. Shouldn't be very often, but that will come up. So as we go through, it's primarily results based, not skills based. Anything I missed?
I think the main thing is we had a lot of tournaments this last quarter, and we discussed a long time. And obviously, it's not going to be perfect, and there are going to be some subjective things in there, or maybe a result missed here and there, and a lot of conflicting results as well. Well, with people beating each other, or having a couple bad tournaments and good tournaments. So it's tough to have a 100% perfect ranking, but again, we try and take everything into consideration. Head to head, majors are a bit more important than opens as well. So yeah, we consider all those things.
Got some messages that it still says waiting. That people are not seeing it right now.
Trey just said people are at the other video. Everyone's coming over now.
Okay. All right. People are moving over.
Okay.
Migration.
Let's get just a little bit.
Thank you, Sullivan, for telling everyone to switch. There we go. Yeah, everyone's coming up now.
In a few more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christian's calling us noobs.
That's true.
True, but we're also learning video.
We're getting better. So very quick recap. We're gonna go over the 100. Not a perfect list, but we're going mainly off of results, not necessarily skill based. Although when there are tight ones head to head, we definitely consider those. Majors are going to be more important than opens, and head to head matchups are weighted as well, along with stats like you had mentioned in those head to head or when people are on the same team. So not perfect, but we're very excited and feel good about this. So we are first going to jump into the top 15's women's rankings. So we'll take the first couple. At the very top, we have Whitney Frere. Her and Amanda played together quite frequently and had a really great season. Got to travel to nationals as well. Yeah. But luckily, we had some results where Whitney and Amanda played against each other, both in co-ed, different mashup tournaments like in Rexburg.
Right.
Whitney ended up coming on top in both of those, so she was very deserving of that #1 spot.
Right. Amanda coming in at number 2. Like Chandler said, Whitney and Amanda play together frequently. Rexburg, probably the most notable difference between the two was Whitney played with Harmony, and Amanda played with Nicole, and Whitney ended up beating those two in a head-to-head. So Whitney above Amanda there, and then third, Lexi, I think is our only result Provo, right? From this quarter.
From this specific quarter, yep.
Okay.
And yeah, this was definitely heavily debated as well because Lexi and Kirsty, they played together in that one.
Right.
Both very good players and both getting a lot better as well. Ultimately, I think Lexi had a very strong result last quarter as well with the King of the Court win that she had.
Right.
And both are wonderful players. We've kind of observed that Kirsty's also played really well in the open tournaments, playing with co-ed and other people as well. Whereas Lexi seemed to excel a bit more when playing just against women. So for this specific ranking, that was kind of the ultimate weight factor.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll see in the top 100 as well, we actually have Kirsty ranked higher than Lexi in the top 100 because we view that as kind of a more overall when you're playing, like Chandler said, in co-ed, or Kirsty plays in elite pretty frequently. So that's kind of the reasoning for Lexi above Kirsty in women's, Kirsty above Lexi in the 100. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And then coming in at number 5 is Liza. She had a really great showing at the co-ed tournament, getting third. Even took the game off of Amanda and Church in the semis.
Right.
So yeah, she's also been really strong as well.
Yeah.
All right. Keen, you want to go next?
Yeah, so 6 we had Harmony in the co-ed tournament. I know that her and Pat didn't perform as well as they wanted, but from what I heard, I sadly wasn't there. Harmony had played very consistently, and I mean, even over the last couple tournaments and pickups that we've seen, she has been getting a lot better than she has the last few quarters. The improvement's definitely been showing.
And she's got a picture from Rexburg.
Yeah.
Playing with Whitney.
Haley Cowan at number 7. She's now on her mission, I believe.
Yeah.
She's playing tomorrow.
She's playing
Oh,
tomorrow.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
She just signed up for tomorrow.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
The end of soggy cardboard.
Okay.
13 names.
There's one more tournament left.
Love it.
One more. That's exciting.
With Haley at 7th, she had, at the college tournament, she went up against me in throwing with Ben Hall, I want to say, and they took a game off of us and took us to 3, and she aced, I want to say, probably 4 or 5 times, definitely gotten a lot more consistent. I would say one of the better finishers in women's would have to be her, and I wouldn't say she's as consistent as Harmony, which is why she's 7th, but the results definitely put her in the top 10.
Yeah, she's very good there. Then Sage as well has also moved up to number 8. That's your wife,
Yep.
which is exciting. But
You want to talk about that one?
Oh, me? I can talk about that one? Oh, wow.
Butter
I
up
mean,
a little bit.
I know one thing that really stands out, kind of as we show the bottom third, are these girls are really getting out there and playing in Open Elite. They're playing in the co-ed tournaments. They're playing in advance. So playing beyond just women's, which has really helped them in all their aspects than just playing against themselves. So that was one big thing I really noted was her ability to adapt the barrier and start playing that.
yeah,
So,
yeah, and has been grinding a lot recently as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we've got Nicole and Aaliyah rounding up the top 10 for us. Yeah, sounds like Aaliyah and Haley are playing tomorrow. Which is
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that's awesome.
Aaliyah's played far less this quarter than Haley, which I think is part of that separation. And Nicole was up at Rexburg, I believe.
Yeah.
For
And she started
quarter,
just
so.
playing just this year, right? Has made a lot of improvements.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Excited
to see
for next year,
moving
too.
up, yeah.
And then for 11 through 15, we've got June and Liberty as our 11 and 12. Both very athletic, and then playing a lot this year as well. Again, we're really excited about these like top 15 women, and excited that we can have a ranking, and hopefully we'll get to double the size of this list by next year. But June and Liberty have been playing a lot, as well as Becca.
Yeah, Becca had a really good result in Logan with Ramey in, I believe, competitive took second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just
huge.
took a game off of me and Whitney. So
Yeah.
Becca was receiving amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
I feel like every single one of these,
Sure.
you can say that they've improved a ton this year.
Mhm.
And yeah, let's just try and invite more ladies out if we can. Grow
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
grow
You
the
know
community.
any,
grow the
one
community.
of feel welcome as well. We've got some co-ed tournaments coming up next year, so we're excited for that.
Yes. And am I right that Kaylee and Keisha, they're your teammates?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
We play together all the time?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Awesome.
Love it. Alrighty, so now we're gonna jump into the highly anticipated top 100.
The meat stone.
Yep.
The core.
All right.
Right here.
So we have a new number 1. Caleb has moved above Taylor Church. So
Live reaction from the crowd.
Essentially, some of the biggest results were me and Caleb beat Church and Stokes and Provo, as well as a head-to-head win over Low-Key at the SoCal tournament in pool play. Very tight 3 games, went into extras, but we came out with the win there. And then Caleb has had phenomenal results all year and is an incredible player. If you've played against him and received him, he's not a fun player to receive, but a very fun person to play against. But he has a very, very high ceiling, has done very well this last quarter. So
Yeah.
very deserving of that number 1 spot.
Absolutely. Moving on to number 2, Church. I know there was a lot of debate that I wasn't a part of between Church and Caleb, but always very consistent, can play well with anybody unless you don't set him well, and that's my fault. I'm working on it. There's a lot of pressure playing with top players, but I mean, always consistent, and even on the national stage, had a lot of really, really high finishes this year.
Yeah, made the pro rack. Yeah, almost made a lead. Yeah, very.
Oversold double clutch.
Yep. Absolutely. Shannon, you want to talk about yourself?
Oh. I mean, same results as Caleb.
Yeah.
The most recent tournament was the Spookball tournament. I hadn't played in a few weeks. Played with Creech. We had a fun time, but in pool play, we played against Church and Devon and
Yeah.
got out to them. And then Trey Thompson had the best tournament I've ever seen, and him and Garrett took out me and Creech. He played phenomenally.
Spookball, right?
In Spookball.
Spookball.
Yeah, they played
Nice.
really well. So, had some head-to-head wins against Church, but he had that head-to-head against us in Spookball, and ultimately, was number one already. So,
Perfect.
but yeah, he's very consistent.
Nice. Okay, we do have a new number 4, so I think we might have talked about it a little bit earlier, but we made the decision as a panel that if you have not played in a tournament in the last quarter, then we are not going to include you in the rankings this time. It's just really difficult to say, yeah, I haven't seen them in 4 or 5 months, but they were really good last time they played. And so, people have been grinding and moving up and getting better, so it's just really difficult to rank. A couple of people dropped off. Solomon kept grinding. Solomon ends up at number 4. A couple notable finishes: had a head-to-head win over Grant and Matt in Provo, and Grant and Jake in Rexburg. Usually, if Solomon's playing, you can count on him to be in contention for podium every time.
And then with Grant as well, these next few spots were kind of heavily debated. Everyone was very solid with the top 4 of Caleb, Taylor, Chandler, and Solomon. So the next few is where it gets a bit dicey, and we definitely heavily debated that, and had to look at a lot of conflicting results and a lot of like head-to-head matchups as well. So Grant Marriott has been playing phenomenally. He got premier at Salt Lake, and then has essentially not had a bad tournament since then. At the Spike Night Major, got 3rd. Matched up against us in the semis, so didn't have a chance for a second, but played very well that day, and has played very well with everyone else. He's played with Matt and played consistently. Jake played consistently. Played with Pac at this last tournament and took first. Yeah, beat Solomon and Bryant. So Grant has had some really good, solid finishes and hasn't really had a bad finish.
Yeah.
So he kind of made the edge over the next group of players.
He labels himself as the ultimate support player, which true. You're going to do really well when you play with him, but I feel like he's a lot more powerful than he gives himself credit for, even.
Yeah.
If he's playing, he's got a chance to podium every time.
Very good player.
For sure. So then rounding out the next of the top 10, we've got Devin Tuttle, who has moved up quite a few spots as well. A very impressive win at the Spookball tournament. And he was another player who, in the 3 tournaments that he did play, didn't have a bad result and podiumed every single time. So essentially, the consistency there kind of brought them above everyone else here. Got second with Stokes playing at the Spike Night Major with a very impressive win over. It was a Creech and Kane that night. They were playing very well, but so they got second there. But ultimately, Devin's participation over Stokes, as well as having solid finishes, moved him up to number 6. So kudos to Devin. He's worked really hard.
Stokes, a couple notes. In both majors that he played this quarter, he placed second, only losing to Caleb and Sham. The note from Jake is he probably would be a little bit higher, but stats show that he had the lowest RPR on the finals net, which I think was Church, and who was on that finals net?
The finals net was Church, Caleb, me, and then Stokes.
Right.
Yep.
So all very, very high ranking players, but
yep.
Okay.
And then we have Bryant, who had a very solid quarter and has essentially risen every single tournament. His best tournament being the sanctioned tournament in Rexburg, where he played with Trey. Beat Drip Drop, beat Solomon and Matt, who are both on this top 10 list, with Trey, and a win at the college tournament as well with Solomon. Bryant's been playing a lot. Him and Solomon are going to be teaming up for this next year. So
yeah, continues to rise.
Yep.
So next up we have Jake LeBaron. I'm just making sure my notes are right. Always impressive. I know this is a pickup game, and so you probably don't care as much, but we were playing early morning Spike. Jake had like 10 aces in a row to close a game. And that's, it's difficult to receive him. He's got a wild cut. He's got a good reverse. He can hit you with the left. He can get you with a drop. And finishes and everything, just very, very consistent. Lots of high finishes in tournaments.
Yeah, and essentially what had kind of moved Jake and Matt to the bottom of this top 10 here. Both didn't have great tournaments in Rexburg. Matt also had missed the pro bracket in the Spike Night tournament and hasn't podiumed this quarter. So essentially, those are the kind of results that kind of brought them down. Again, all of these next group of players are very similar skill levels and all got Premier this year, which is very, very exciting. Besides Stokes, of course. But those unfortunate results kind of moved them to round out the bottom of that list. So
Right. Okay. Moving on. Number 11, Garrett Carver. Let me move on above here. So Garrett has a lot of impressive results as well. Made the pro bracket in Spike Night. Had an elite pro in Provo. I believe he took third in that tournament. Third in Spookball. Qualified for Premier in Rexburg. Just a lot of high finishes, and I think qualifying for Premier in Rexburg over Connor and Tanner with Creech.
Yep.
A series that I think it went to 3 games. Super exciting to watch. But
yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, this section of people was one of the most heavily debated that night as we went over the rankings. And really all of these guys could switch even amongst this next 20. Like, it's getting to the point where there were a lot of results and a lot of conflicting information as well. So we essentially had to go with Garrett as he's had the most consistent, solid results. Lindros has also had some great results. So Lindros had the head-to-head win over Garrett and Pack playing with Trey. And then got third in Dixie with a head-to-head win over Ashton and Bryce as well. Played with Cody Brower. Right. Played in Spookball and didn't have the best results as well, losing to some other teams that were below. So essentially, a lot of these are some good results mixed with maybe 1 or 2 bad results. And so we eventually felt good about Garrett, Lindros, and then Ashton, and then Pack. Which, if any of you played against Pack, he's, I don't know, I feel like you've never played against him.
Pack is probably, in my opinion, I'd say the most improved player in Utah this season. I mean, he moved here very late into the season, but he literally played every single day. Would make the drive. He lives in Salt Lake, for those of you who don't know. Makes the drive down to Provo at least 3 to 4 times a week to play, and it's the consistency and dedication is really why he's top 15. He could have been higher. He didn't have the results to prove, and with us going result-based more this rankings, it definitely, that's why he's at 14th.
Yeah. Has the skills to be top 10.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I think part of holding Pack down is just not Premier yet.
Yes.
That'll happen very soon. I think everybody kind of agrees, and hopefully Pack knows that as well.
Lost in quarters 4 times.
Right. Yeah, he's been so close so many times. I think that's just kept him.
Yeah, that was what it took for me too. Yeah, it took 4 before I actually got there. And then this next group, we've got Creech, Tanner, Derek, and Bryce. So Creech got Premier with Garrett this year, or at the Rexburg tournament. That was essentially the main tournament that he had played, but had a head-to-head win over Tanner and Connor there that day. Also played in the most recent Spookball Open with me, but then we got out to Trey and Garrett. So Garrett had that head-to-head win, even though when he had played with him. And then Tanner at that very same tournament was in that qualifying match to get Premier. Very tight 3 games, but ended up dropping to Creech and Garrett. And then we have Derek and Bryce next, where Derek also played in that same tournament, got out the round earlier, but Derek has made pro in both majors, got second in Logan with Solomon. He's also been one of the most improved players this year, from
most definitely.
beginner and intermediate to all the way up here, almost getting Premier. He played in nationals and got the number 1 seed out of 100+ teams. So went undefeated. Anyways, very impressive results and excited for his improvement there. But essentially, with those head-to-head results, with Tanner getting to the round further and almost qualifying for Premier, we kind of gave that win over there. And had a head-to-head win over Derek and Trent in the Provo major, but it was a little bit rainy. tough day for sure. But
That was a rough day.
yeah.
That was one of the most fun matches to watch, I think, though. I feel like they like had an agreement between each other, like, let's just do it for the crowd.
Yeah.
And, like, it was one of the funnest, I think, to watch. So, number 18, Bryce Young. Most everybody should know Bryce. Bryce is a very consistent player. Really good sets, good finishes, good cut, deceptive jam now. Always, when did he get Premier?
He got Premier in
AF.
Yep, that's right.
Got Premier so a while ago. So he's been there for a while. He missed the pro bracket in both major tournaments, but in both major tournaments he podiumed in elite. So I mean, really consistent, kind of up there in the top of the elite bracket.
But that's essentially why we moved. Even though he is Premier, had to move Derek and Tanner above him, and Pack as well. Because playing with Pack, they ended up losing and not making the pro brackets.
Right.
So the failure to make both of those pro brackets in both of the majors this year, that was kind of a tough look, as well as I mean an okay tournament with Solomon at the Spook Ball Open as well. But essentially Derek and Tanner had solid wins and made pro brackets when Bryce didn't, when he definitely should have, rankings wise. So.
Okay, rounding out the top 20, we have Ashton Kirkman. I believe played in. Did he play in 2 majors as well? He played in Spike Night. Missed out on the pro bracket, but he took first in elite over, I believe, Daniel Fairborn and Bryce. Right? I think so. I'm pretty sure. And then missed the pro.
But
yeah,
Ashton's a great player.
Yeah.
He was out for the summer for quite a bit. And is actually just got married this last week.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting. So hopefully we'll see him play still.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Bring another one in the
That's true. And Connor Anderson, again, a very impressive result in Rexburg. I think that was his best tournament there, almost qualifying for Premier with Tanner. So we're very excited for him next year. He got 4th in the King of the Court tournament behind, I think, was it
Justin
Yeah.
Alex and
Justin
Goats,
Alex and
me,
Tanner?
and
That's right. Yep. So had a solid quarter and then a very good day at Rexburg as well.
Okay, moving on, top 25. Another riser is Spencer Straddick.
Yeah.
21. I don't know exactly where he was last time. I think it was
He was
around the
down in
35, 38
and before that he was right around with Brian, like the 60s.
Yeah.
So
So consistent improvement over the last three rankings periods. Solid finishes, a couple of notable ones in Provo, made the pro bracket with Ramey.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
That was a big upset.
There was a lot of credit for that. There was a couple of upsets in there as well.
He had-
the Goats boys
Yeah.
beat Braden and I head to head.
And then finished above a lot of people, even above him on this list. But yeah, finished above a lot of people. Had a head-to-head win with Brian Hansen over Derek Bonney and Sanford at the Rexburg tournament as well.
in pool play.
Yeah, it wasn't pool play, but it was a head-to-head matchup at a thing. So that was essentially the only result that we had.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah.
Tamang was going to be my partner tomorrow, and I feel really sad about it. But it's okay. We'll play with Jesse and we'll do really well. But Tamang is one that just can get hot with his serves. I feel like the game can be going pretty steady. Maybe you're like at 15s or so, and then something clicks. It's like, all right, we need like 4 points, and then it
goes on
ace.
Yeah.
Over and over. Chandler can tell you a little more about that.
Yeah, so he has a winning tournament result against me. He's the bane of my existence. So he just lights it up against me on the serving court. But yeah, he let's see. So he had the elite podium with Ashton Kirkman and Provo, wins over Mundy and Danny, Garrett and Dallin, which is a very big win, and then Camden and Spencer Hodson as well. Also got 3rd in Logan with Trey, and then Rexburg lost to Garrett and Creech, who went on to get Premier at the tournament. So, but then we have Dallin right behind him, where Dallin and Garrett. Again, that was a very tight head-to-head matchup, but Alex and Ashton came out with the win against Garrett and Dallin, rounding out the end of that elite podium.
Right. So that's kind of why we've got Alex above Dallin. Dallin is a difficult one to place because he has played with Garrett exclusively. but I think the results and the test I've played head to head against him show that he deserves to be in this range. Very consistent, I would say.
Mhm.
So rounding out, I think he's top 23.
Yep. Then we got Ben and Justin. Ben made pro in Provo with his brother, and then podiumed in Elite with Connor. Had head-to-head win over Bryce Young and Daniel, Dylan and Kirsty, Justin and Braden. So those were kind of his wins there. So I think he stayed essentially around the same, but
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of tournaments this
I'm not
quarter.
sure if he dropped. If he did, it's 1 or 2.
Yeah.
You have 3. Ben Goats was 21.
Okay.
Dropped it there.
And then we have Justin, who's moved up. He had a very impressive third in the King of the Court, only behind Alex Goetz and Tanner. Barely missed pro in both majors, but had the opportunity to do and had a very good win in pool play as well. Beat Pack and Bryce head to head in that pro pool play.
Right.
And has had some very strong statistics as well, moving up. So, yeah, excited for it. Played awesome.
Sweet. Keep on moving. Okay.
Who wants to say this one?
So we got
Sanford could say this next.
Oh shit!
So we got Sanford at 26, made pro at the Spike Night Major with Solomon. So what beat Derek and Brian that day, as well as Dallin and Garrett. And then got 9th in Rexburg with Derek Bonney. So had the head-to-head loss against Straddick and Brian in pool play.
What did the stats show in all those? Let's look at stats.
So then also got 5th at King of the Court, which was a tough look as well, with people who were behind him moving above him in the rankings. So didn't make the top court there. And then played with Derek there, and then at that match where they lost against Trent and Tal, statistically it was very significant that he was the worst at that court. So again, this was a heavily debated section here, and again, things aren't perfect, and there were a lot of conflicting results as well. But with the few results that we had, and not necessarily having some great results, that was kind of why the drop there.
Okay, next up we have Ben Bliss. Ben had 2 tournament results. He had Logan, I think he took 9th there, and then the college tournament in Provo.
Yeah, great player. Plays a lot at Logan. Was out a bit this quarter, but excited for him. And then exciting players at the end. We have Ramey, Zach, and Dylan.
Yeah.
Ramey and Zach have both had good quarters. Ramey had that very impressive win with Spencer,
Right.
To make the pro division in Provo at the Provo Major, which was really big and not expected. And then Ramey's played a lot with. He plays with Becca in co-ed.
Right.
Played very very strongly. Oh, I think played with Kirsty in co-ed actually. But
Just nearly, and then recently he's been playing with Becca, so that's where they took second in competitive and Logan. So
Ramey, I think 6th King of the Court. Am I right? He might have finished just behind Sanford, but above Lincoln and Zach. I'm not sure. But plays very well in King of the Court. I believe that Ramey and I gave Alex Goetz his only loss of the day, and a lot of that was on the back of Ramey's defense. Just really good instincts, can get good touches on balls that typically may go past other players. So. Zach Frisch, I played with him in Dixie. He played very well. I didn't know really who he was before. I knew that he had gotten elite qualified in the Provo Major.
So really big jump for Zach.
Yeah.
Not being on this list, but
was not on the list before.
I don't
Not on this
no.
list.
Yeah.
Yep.
His
First one.
Because you had played against him, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Him and Johnny beat us in 3.
Yeah. So very, very impressive win there. And then Zach's been getting a lot better. So he's on the BYU squad. Played in the Spookball Open, and he actually almost beat multiple people in pool play. He almost beat me in Creech in pool play. I think let's see, hold on. Let's see. So he had a head-to-head win over Camden and Johnny in 2. Took Lindros and that was in Dixie. Took Lindros and Brower to 3, and then lost by 2 in the 3rd game. So still a new player, lots of potential, but Also had a spook ball win over Sanford and Lindros as well. So again, all those things taken into consideration, and we're excited for him.
And rounding out top 30, Dylan Mundy. Dylan is one of the nicest people, I think, in the community. He's super fun to play with, and he's really, really good. Tends to play with, I think this quarter we only have results with him and Sage.
Him and Kirsty at Spike Night
Co-ed
as
with
well.
Sage, and then with Kirsty and Spike Night. So a little bit harder to know where he's at, but I mean, when he gets hot with his serves, it's very difficult to receive. The backhand is unreal.
Okay. So then on this next list, we've got Cody Brower, Brian Hansen, Camden, and then Zane and Christian as well. Keith, do you want to talk a bit about this, and we can kind of jump in?
Yeah, with Cody, I mean, I haven't really seen him play much, obviously, with him being down at SUU. But from talking to him a little bit, he is playing every day, and he's the one that kind of keeps the club running down there.
He got second in Spike Night in advanced, and then
with Keegan.
with Keegan, and then third in Dixie with Lindros, and then had a head-to-head win over Justin and Zach and Bryson Ashton as well, which was a very big win, beating two premier players with Lindros. So we're excited for him.
With Brian Hansen, he took 9th in Rexburg with Spencer Straddick, and had a head-to-head win over Derek and Sanford. Camden, with him being at 33, I know there's a lot of controversy in the chat right now. The main reason he dropped was he was consistently one of the bottom elite players this quarter for results, and that's solely the only reason. He, in my opinion, is definitely a top 25 player. It was really just results on his drop.
Yeah, there weren't any head-to-head wins above any of these people above him, and some losses there. So that was why the dropping in the rankings came there. But then we've got Zane and Christian as well, who finally made their resurgence, which we're very excited about. Yin Yang, freaking love those guys.
Better stay coming out though.
Hopefully. But yeah, played in the Open in the college tournament.
Yeah, and I think for these two, they played against Kirsty and I. Obviously very good players. I think if we had more results, we'd have a better understanding of where to rank them. With just the one result in the alumni division, it's kind of hard to know where they're at, but really strong players.
So then the next group, we've got Daniel Fairborn, Adam, Lincoln, Braden, and McKay. So Daniel he played at the Pro Bowl Major with what's his name? Oh my gosh.
You know
It
it.
starts with a D. He's a really tall guy. Just got back from the mission.
You know it.
Yeah, they actually. I know. And, Dallin Bentley. That's right, Dallin Bentley. They actually beat Solomon and Derek in pool play, but didn't end up winning any of the other games there. But
I believe second at Spike Night in Elite.
Oh yes,
Is another notable result there.
We've got Adam and Lincoln. Adam's been playing Elite finally in this quarter, which has been great. Hasn't had any notable results yet, but I mean we love Adam, and he's on the panel. Very very good, consistent player. He's getting a cut, getting a reverse, so we're excited for him.
Something that I think about with these rankings, really from about 25 to 40, I look at all of these players, I'm like, oh no, they're great. They're great. They can be higher. They should be higher. They should be higher. And so that's what I think personally for my partner Braden. Oops, I'm in the way. Braden's great. Has a really good cut with right and a left. We had some kind of poor results, I feel like, this quarter, but a lot of almost results, like fourth in elite, and like just missed out on pro bracket. There's a lot of like almost. As soon as we kind of like nudge over the edge, I feel like that's going to be awesome. McKay.
Yeah, McKay. Only one tournament there. He's technically a premier player and is very good, but just played once with his wife in Eagle Mountain. But because he played in the quarter, he's on the list. So, so we've got Daniel Feller, Spencer, Mitch, Jonathan, and Max are our next group of five.
One thing with Danny Feller, I definitely have to say is him and Rainey. I think every time they've played have had fairly good results. I don't know if they played at all this quarter, but
Together. I'm not sure together.
Can't think
I
of it or
don't
not.
think so. I know that, I mean, one in Eagle Mountain.
Yeah, that was
directly
Yeah.
through Lincoln and Rainey with
Yeah.
Dave Larson, who's
Yeah.
later on the list. but-
Eagle Mountain played with David Larson. He did place over Devin and Brennan as well in that tournament, which was a huge place for him.
So again, just an open tournament, and again, as we're getting down this list, there are less results to work with, less head-to-heads as well. So it's kind of tough, but again, play consolation, it helps us to have more of an idea of head-to-head matchups as we get lower there.
Right. I know Mitch played in the college tournament for BYU. They ended up taking first. Did very well in that tournament. Jonathan Shielk, I think, is a newcomer to our rankings. He's a Logan guy, plays up there, doesn't get down to a lot of tournaments, but played in Logan with probably about an intermediate player that's not on this list, and had a head-to-head win against Kirsty and Lincoln, I believe in bracket play. So that's kind of why we included him on this list. Max Spence, there's some chat about Max right now. I think Sanford is blasting the live stream. Max is a great player. We just don't see him very much, and so it's difficult to know where to rank him
With his
as well.
cross-country season.
Yeah.
Literally runs a mile in between games, right? Had a lot of votes for most energetic player. Or never runs out of energy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we just got to see him play more. That's with a lot of people on this list as well. Bryce Thompson is also a very good player.
Right.
He would have a lot higher had he played more.
Almost definitely.
Jaden Wynn he played in BYU guy, played spookball competitive and had a head-to-head win, beating Whitney and Amanda to get first there. So he's right above Whitney in our rankings, but
I will say he was injured too. Like
really?
he had his leg wrapped, he could not run. So
Yeah.
like for him to do that while injured is super impressive.
Yeah.
So
For sure. But yeah, then we've got Whitney, who's our first women ranking on the top 50, which is super exciting. Whitney's had a very impressive quarter. Again, that win over Amanda and Nicole with Harmony was very impressive.
Yeah.
Had the co-ed win with me over Church and
Church
Amanda.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a very good player and competes and beats a lot of these guys. So
Yeah.
and she was also the second most active this quarter. So there were, I believe, I want to say 10 tournaments. I was a 9, Whitney was an 8. So
wow.
She had a ton of results for us to look at, and I don't really think there was a bad result from her. So that was another big boost to her over Amanda, which we'll get to later. So
Is this the first top 50 for a women's player in Utah?
I believe.
Ever?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Let's go, Whitney.
Awesome. Sweet. Okay, and then rounding out the top 50 is Tate. Tate had a couple of results. He had a really good result with Chan and Logan.
Well, we got
You're there.
we got Keegan as
Oh,
well.
dude.
That's love, Justin. That's love.
Lots of love. What am I doing? All right. You want to talk about yourself? No, I'm good.
He got second in the promo major, qualified for elite there. So finally elite, which is very exciting, and competes in elite a lot as well.
Yeah.
I think played with Lincoln at Spike Night. Not a great tournament. You guys had a couple very close wins. And
Yeah, we almost upset Matt and Ashton. Last game we lost was 21-19, I believe. 2019.
very close. Very close. And then we have Tate, who played in just one tournament with me at the Eagle Mountain Open. He played phenomenally.
Played in Rexford as well.
Oh, he did play Rexford.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rob.
Yeah. So he played phenomenally with me, and then didn't have a great tournament with Rob. Not a great result. Did they win any games?
It was
I
last.
think they took
Yeah.
last.
They took last, so lost to Lincoln and Kian there. So we got Kian above Tate in this one.
Next up, Sick Nutty.
Yeah.
Ryan and Nick. I freaking miss those guys. I feel like they used to come out a little bit more, and we would consistently lose to them. And then I've not played against them in a really long time, but I know that they played Dixie, and I was hoping for a head-to-head matchup. Didn't happen. Really solid players, qualified for elite. Hopefully we see more of them kind of, I guess this next quarter, there's not much happening, but next year, and look for them to rise as well. A big riser on this list, 53, Johnny Hatfield. I don't remember what he was last time, 70s, in the 70s-ish. Has put a lot of work in with the BYU crew. Played in Dixie with Camden, took 6th. Yeah, really tight between me and Zach and Camden and Johnny. It was like a tight 2 games. I think we won by maybe 2 both games.
Yeah.
And the improvement is noticeable for sure.
Yep. And then Keegan got second at Spike Night as well. So Yeah, great result there. And then we got Cannon and Jackson next, who they sometimes play together, sometimes play separately, but up and coming high school players. They're very funny kids. I love those guys. And then we've got Todd, Amanda, and John as our next crew. You guys want to talk about that one?
I mean, yeah. So I mean, as Amanda's here, kind of like we brought up with Whitney, just having more results than just them together, and then that direct loss and the co-ed. So there's more with Whitney that we could see, or direct head-to-heads or direct wins with some of these people between them. That because of that, they were separated so far. So a lot more than they've ever been. Usually they've just been right next to each other. So.
But yeah, we got Todd, very consistent. He played in the college tourney, and a head-to-head win against Kirsty and Justin, and then barely lost to
Yeah.
Whitney and Jake.
Right.
Who Whitney and Jake got a great tournament with.
Yeah.
There.
Did they win?
They got second
got
only
second.
to Kayla.
Only to
and
Kayla.
Kayla's.
Yeah.
So they. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The best they could have done, for sure. So yeah, but yeah, that's the main separation there.
Mo and Sterling.
That's great.
You guys want to talk?
I'd love to talk about Mo.
Well, this is technically key in section. I'll help.
Yeah.
But.
Mo. So Mo took first in Spike Night with Lindros, beating I can't even think the name. Who took second? It was
It's Keegan and
Cody.
Keegan. That's
Yep.
right.
and I want to say they beat him in 2.
I think so, yeah.
Mo has definitely gotten a lot more consistent throughout this tour. He doesn't play as much anymore now that he's married. Sad days.
But he does come to pick up on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I see quite a bit there.
With Sterling, I know there's some chats going on that he should be higher. It's really just he hasn't played as much. When he did play with me, obviously we have the same results. With Provo him taking second, it's really just he hasn't played as much as these other players, and he hasn't played in as many tournaments, so we didn't have as many results to go based off of.
Yeah, it's really hard to compare someone who consistently plays an elite to someone who's just placed out of advanced, because it's really hard to determine where they would fall with people they've never played.
Yep.
So that is one big separation in terms of stats of having an elite stat block and an advanced stat block, and seeing where those crossover is pretty hard.
Yep.
So.
And if we end up doing like a top 10 basement spike ranking next time, I think
I think
I'm pretty sure Sterling's gonna be on there. He's got really good finishes, like very good finishes.
So
in the
many
basement
defensive
spike.
touches.
Oh my god. Elgion's one that I would say personally eye test would have him a lot higher. I think we just had one result.
Yeah, essentially these next three, Elgion, Dallin, and Spencer, only really have one tournament to go off of. But all very good players, and all could be a lot higher, but dropped because of only just one result.
And that one result being the college tournament, which is really hard for us to really look into, because if you're part of that squad, we don't have all the details. And then Spencer also played with Sage, still hurt.
Yeah.
So that division also is a little bit of a wash, just because we don't have Chandler and Solomon and everyone else playing in that same division.
So we've got Andrew Greer, Brady Price, Morgan Beck, Andrew Leonard, and Joseph Barron. So for example, we got Brady and Joseph on here, who took third at the Spike Night, so right behind the people that took second and first there.
Right.
And then we've got Morgan there, who took second in Rexburg Advanced.
Morgan and his partner, maybe this is which, Britton. Very solid players. Morgan is a lefty, and I would say has probably one of the most consistent lefts. I would say if he's on, but that's anyone. It has a really deep cut with his left, and it makes him a pain to try and serve against because he can receive both right and left. They played Spookball Elite, and they didn't do as good as they wanted. I believe that was their first Elite tournament, so that's to be expected.
Awesome. Okay, so then we've got our next. We got 70 through 80 here. Any kind of notable ones that we want to talk about here?
I would say Kirsty.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier, when Justin spoiled things a little bit, Kirsty, the reason why she's higher with Lexi is because Kirsty has played more tournaments with guys than Lexi has. Lexi normally tends to stick in women's, and she has performed better in women's than Lexi has. Whereas Kirsty overall has, flipped, and she has played a lot better. Her and Dylan took me and Lincoln, beat us in 2 actually on Spike tonight, and it wasn't even close games. They slaughtered us. So that would be why Kirsty is over Lexi.
And then we've got Jace, who got first in Spookball Competitive as well. And then we got Riley and Lexi in our next one. So, again, Riley had that win in Logan with
Whitney.
Right, with Whitney as well.
And then me and Johnny technically in competitive got second of the competitive group before he placed out. So, I had really strong open results, not amazing major results. So.
We've got Elijah Reeves and Tayson Jensen. Those guys are teammates and play in Logan. Great open showings in Logan and in the Spookball tournament overall. So both of them on this list. I think kind of go ahead.
Yeah, Kian Caliente. I believe this is his first ranking.
Yeah.
Yes, he took 4th in pro as well, almost getting qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another one's been grinding. Kian Harmony. I want to see how they do in co-ed next year. I think they'll do really well.
Yeah.
Brad Smith, I think, has risen as well. Brad, I think, was really close to getting elite qualified several times, and then just decided, I'm just going to play elite anyway. And he did well. He held his own. We played Spike Night against he and Adam. They took us to 3 games, and it was really close series. This has surprised me. I hadn't played against him before.
One of those that wants to play against the top players just to get better. So that's a great attitude. For anyone on this list who wants to kind of move up and really prove their skills, try and play the best competition you possibly can, even if you might lose. Like even just playing up there, you'll be able to get the skills and receive these harder, faster people, so that when you're playing people around your rankings, it's a little bit more clear cut. Yeah.
Right.
And then Rob Hertzler, we ended up getting 4th in Logan. That was one of, I think the only.
Yeah, maybe that's his only.
Oh, sorry. No, it was in Logan. Oh, and then he also
right.
played.
Okay.
Yes.
So 2 showings, one with you, and then one not as
Tate,
well.
that was
So
not great as well.
So I believe in the next one is our lowest elite qualified person. So yes.
Tegan.
So Rob's almost. Tegan again got qualified last ranking group. Only played once and has since left on a mission. And he played in advance during that time frame. So that is why that elite qualification is there, but is still low.
Yeah.
So.
And all of these people above are technically not elite qualified, but played against these competitions. We've got Brennan who has had some great results. Should have been on the last rankings, which we definitely apologize about that one. But at the Eagle Mountain tournament, played with Devin. He actually beat me and Tate in pool play, which was awesome.
Nice.
And has played very frequently and very consistently as well. But plays against that top competition. You got Ben Hall. Jesse Big is almost there as well.
So close, so many times.
So many times as well.
Yeah, I don't know how many tournaments, but I think there's been 3 or 4 majors where Jesse has placed 4th in advance. So just like right on the cusp of elite qualification, and just has missed it just by a little bit each time. With just a little bit more, I think he's going to get there this next year, and I'm going to make it like my goal. We're freaking going to do it, Jesse. And I know you're watching, so we're going to play together tomorrow and do really well, and then you're going to get elite next year.
Heck yeah, I love it. He's also one of the most active in the community.
Yes.
He played the most
Hands
tournaments this year.
down. I think technically tied, but he was signed up for Phoenix.
Nice.
So
And he's
so he will.
playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he will.
So me and him are tied at 30 right now.
I think so.
We're gonna still be tied at 31. And then,
I'm like, you want me to
he's
adjust
gonna-
for this tournament? I will.
Unless
I was
Jesse's got
considering
Phoenix.
adding Phoenix in preemptively, but
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Preston Haight, also a great player who comes to Riverton pickups a lot. He's getting very good as well.
Yeah.
And then also usually plays with Austin Reed
Yeah.
as well.
Right. Elijah watching?
Yeah,
I've seen him comment.
I believe he is.
He made it! Right. Top 100, Elijah. I've not played against him, so I don't know if anybody can speak more.
We'll get you
Maybe
tomorrow.
Sanford
We'll
can.
get you tomorrow. Oh, I'm big fans. Elijah and Ashton, I think, are I mean, rankings based, sure, but like they're studs. They're going to be every year. We have new high school kids coming up, and Ashton, Elijah, and the rest of the Skyridge crew. They're going to be the next ones pushing Taylorsville, right? I mean, Taylorsville, they've always got it because they've always got whoever rolling through. But these guys, they're the next up and comers.
I was able to do a coaching session with their school.
Oh, that's right.
Last week.
Oh, it's awesome.
They're awesome. Like I didn't know what to expect. I'm very excited
Yeah.
for them. Yeah,
Yep.
I just
They-
finisher.
They took that number 1 or I think number 3 seed in Dixie in advance. Ended up taking
Got
4th.
And
Yeah.
also fourth in football as well.
Yeah. So I mean, they can compete with.
Yeah. Essentially, we're very excited for just more results with all these guys up here. But we're super excited for them.
Coco, the fan
Banquet.
favorite, 93.
I think was Coco higher? Was he right around here? I think
Last time he was.
he was way
Coco
higher.
was dropped a little bit.
Coco was higher.
He was
The
in a
only tournament he had was with Morgan in the
In the alumni division.
alumni
college
division.
class.
That's right.
so
Coco was in the 70s
So-
last rankings, and then 43rd or 44th, I believe, the rankings.
Yeah,
prior to
a
that.
while. So Coco, we just need to
Just
play
come
more.
out, play more. We miss you.
Yeah. So lots of highs and lows, but we still love Coco.
Yeah.
We got Liza Murray's on this list as well. Again, great co-ed showing as well. Taking a game off of Church and Amanda. So Liza, Haley, and Sage have both made all 3 made the top 100.
I want to say Kate as well. For those of you that don't know him, that's actually Lindros's uncle, I believe. He has been playing with his son recently, but they have even had a few upsets. They beat in Provo. They beat Britain and oh my gosh, Morgan. Or they took him to 3. Sorry, didn't beat him. Took him to 3, and the game that they did beat him, I want to say the score was not even close. It was a very good game. And then in Eagle Mountain as well, was playing with his son, and I don't think they had a bad turnout. I want to say they were middle of the pack, and his son is still fairly new. So
That's great. That's great.
Sweet. And then number 100 on the list, but number 1 in our hearts, right?
I shouldn't add the heart. I'm sorry.
It's on the graphic. Don't worry.
Yeah, the father of the community. He's phenomenal. He always brings snacks and treats. Super supportive. Was up in Rexburg. Brought this huge cooler full of snacks and drinks and everything.
Right.
We loved him.
she actually did better than Coco is what tells.
Tell Jeff to play a tournament. All right, cool. So that rounds out our top 100. We're gonna move on to the adopted list.
So the adopted list again. These are well, I'm gonna wait here. These
Spoilers.
Yeah. These are people in the community who don't technically live in Utah, but essentially live in Utah. They've come down to so many tournaments. We feel like they're part of the family and the crew. Made their trainings here and everything. So we love all these guys. We've only included the top 50, and we've kind of put them tied with certain positions in the ranking. So
Another qualification too is we're looking for 2 tournaments within the quarter, just to make sure that you are adopted. It's kind of just our line.
You have to put it in drive time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's true. It's a sacrifice. But so tied for 5th, we have Trey Thompson. Trey has just been getting better and better. Again, I think his 2 best tournaments were taking 2nd in Rexburg, beating Drip Drop, beating Matt and Solomon, and then
First in SoCal.
got first in SoCal, qualified for Premier there with Lindros, which was great. And then also played very well at the Spookball Open with Garrett, beating me in Creech. And then didn't he take? Was it 2 games or 3 games against Solomon and?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But so yeah, Trey has been phenomenal. Has played very well and has had the results to back it up. We got Tal at 10, who Tal qualified for Premier in Rexburg. Had a great tournament there. Had win against I think Pack and Brooks. Freaking love he's got some, and played in the college tournament as well with Trent, where they just lost to Solomon and Brian as well. But
Right.
yeah, love those guys.
We got Caleb and Taylor who qualified for Premier together in Rexburg and had a number of upsets, right?
I think so. They directly beat Pack and Brooks to get Premier.
Okay.
And then played me in church in the semis.
Gotcha.
But they qualified for Premier right before that by making it to the semis. So finally got it. They played in a lot of tournaments throughout this year, but then finally were able to qualify for Premier there.
Right.
And then Trent, who also qualified for Premier at Rexburg. So Rexburg was a very good tournament for all these guys, right in the middle
boys.
of Utah. But then Trent also played in the college tournament with Cal. Yeah, strong lefty server. I love these guys. We're very grateful for all these guys who make the trek down to play and just feel part of the community. So we're grateful to have you and wanted to include you on the list here.
Okay, and then on the women's adopted list, we've got 3 that qualified. We've got Camille Anderson, T4. Jake could speak a little bit more to that, who's not here. He's played with her a lot more. But from what he has said, I don't know. No, I trust him. Killer serves has shown that she's just improved a ton, especially over the last quarter.
Yeah.
I don't remember where we had her ranked last time, but I know that she's risen above a couple people.
Yeah. And even though I haven't directly played against Camille, like I've seen her at the co-ed tournament and play, and just like you can see the improvement and like the good foundations and the good form with everything. So yeah, very excited for Camille as well. And then Nicole getting second in Rexburg with Amanda.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
T5, and then Caitlin Rowe at T8 as well. So very grateful for Camille, Nicole, and Caitlin.
Perfect. Is that the end?
I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking with us.
We want to hear all of your takes.
Yeah. Again, not perfect. Feel free to drop everything in the comments.
There's things that we'll mess up on, but the more stats that we have, if you feel like somebody's ranked above you that shouldn't be, please show us. We welcome that. We're not going to run away from people trying to show us that we're wrong. I think we made mistakes on this one. We'll continue to, but the more input we have from the community and the more that we try and focus on stats over, well, I think this guy's better eye test, the better it's going to be.
Yep.
So.
There is a discussion in the
Yeah.
Discord, so
Yeah,
feel
Discord's
free
great.
to jump on that channel.
And then next year, again, we'll be doing 4 more of these. We'll be having kind of a preseason one, and then 2 mid-season, and then 1 final season as well. So, probably from this time, even though there won't be as many tournaments, get out, get playing, try and compete against as many people as you can, because we will have a preseason rankings that we'll be doing. So for people like Zach Frisch, who very new to the scene but has been playing a lot, come play a lot and prove it out and pick up some tournaments so that we can remember to include you on this.
Right. As a panel, we do have an idea for the preseason rankings, since it will primarily be eye test. I mean, we might have some results from Phoenix that we can look to, from Vegas if you go to the USA Round Net.
Yeah.
San Diego, February 5th as well.
There's one in San Diego for
Ooh, very
That
nice.
I'm running.
So there's
There
a
you
few that are kind of like out of state that maybe not a lot of people from Utah will travel to, so it's going to be very hard to say, preseason rankings. Our idea is, what if we had the community vote and had members of the community rank their top 100 as a panel? We would get together and look at it and take kind of an average of all of you guys' votes. No soliciting votes for yourself. I don't know how we would really track that. But it's an idea that we had. If you like it, tell us. If you don't, great. We'll kind of just do eye test as best as we can. But we figure as a community, I mean, we'll have more eyes on people if we have the community look at it rather than just 8 members of the panel. It's an idea. Let us know.
So yeah, anything, again, the Utah Roundnet Association Discord is a really great resource that all of us are on. So top 100 discussions or any ideas or pickups all throughout the state. Join and jump in.
There's a suggestion box on there.
Yeah,
We want to be open on it. We also have a link in there for an anonymous suggestion box. Because there were plenty of things that I would have recommended prior. If it was anonymous, but we've got that now. So it is there. So
just so everyone knows, from an RSL standpoint, we did take that poll as to since they jumped the prices on us significantly. We are thinking we should be able to get like every other week, hopefully starting December.
That's
So
cool.
as long as we actually have people show up, pricing depends how many people come. Pricing might jump up a couple bucks a person, but
Well worth it. So much fun to get the off-season practice and an awesome facility,
It's
and the
much
more the merrier.
better than church ball.
Yeah, so true.
It's leagues above it.
Awesome.
Good.
Well, thank you for joining, everyone. Yeah, excited to see you.